Good morning, Nassia.
Good morning, Sharon. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are things with you?
Very good. Can't complain. You know, the sun is shining in London today, and apparently we're getting some kind of a heat wave coming from Africa. So we're set for a wonderful weekend.
We are indeed. I'm sweltering already, even though it's so early in the morning. So thank you so much for joining us on our podcast. I was absolutely thrilled when you said yes. As I mentioned, our IoTsy podcast is all about making IoT accessible and simplifying it and bringing it out there to the masses so people understand what it is and it's not scary. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact when I reached out to you on LinkedIn, that was one of the first things you had on your profile.
Absolutely.
Hence why you're here. So do you want to just quickly introduce yourself and what you do and a bit about IoT and your principles?
Sure thing. So obviously my name is Nassia Skoulikariti. My last name, as you probably can tell, is very Greek. You know, and my first name, my actual first name is Athanasia, but I shortened it because a lot of people were confusing it with Anastasia or Anastasias, which is not a bad name, but it's not my name. So I go by Nassia for short. I'm the founder and CEO of Apiro Data. We are an early stage IoT startup, and we are catering to end-to-end IoT solutions through partnerships on our own IoT platform. Through our partnerships with vendors, sensor vendors, we have the various sensors, we have the connectivity, and our platform is modular, vendor, cloud, and I would say, and also connectivity agnostic. So we're striving to make it very easy for companies to deploy IoT projects and products and solutions by enabling them to get to the market a lot faster. So we'll come in, understand where they are, what they need to do, where they need to go, what they have, which is extremely important to understand what they have in place today, if it's working or if it's not working, then architect a solution, an end-to-end solution that will take them from inception all the way to production and take them through the whole journey. So that's a very short, I would say, summary of what Apiro Data and what my team is all about. Now, we are a small team. We're 5 people. We're just adding 1 more person next week. Outside myself and another founding member, Swapnil, who's out in India. We also have our development team. Our development team, they're all females. And as we were chatting earlier, it was one of the areas that I was adamant on getting going as much as I could. It's not because, you know, we are against males. We don't reverse discriminate or anything like that. But throughout my career, I've been in positions where I was the only woman in an organization or the only woman in management. And I've discovered a lot of talent and a lot of raw talent that was untapped or not utilized, or it was treated in a way that it wouldn't allow them to grow or create a career. So I decided that when, and I didn't know back then when that would be, when I'm able to support and help other females to do something with their lives, grow their careers, get an opportunity to get out there, I will do as much as I can. So at the moment, my development team, they're all females. They're all based out of India because there is immense talent out there. And we'll keep it going for as long as we can. As I said, we're not discriminating on who we're hiring. So we don't strive to go out and only hire females. We interview everybody and we hire the best candidate. So it so happens, because of where we are and what we stand for, that a lot of females are approaching us now and asking and wanting to, you know, to join our organization. So we have a few, you know, similar plans in the future, one of which will be for our support organization, and where I want to, I truly, being from, you know, from Greece and everything, I want to put it out there. Yes. We're doing a lot of work with Africa, and, you know, there is a lot of talent out there as well. So someday, hopefully soon, we'll be able to open a little office and help females in Africa as well. So That's us. That's Apiro Data.
Love it. We have also just taken on a female developer. Her name is Ash, and she's a university student actually, so she's doing an internship with us. But she has absolutely rocked our socks off. So she's come in, she's already getting into all of the coding that we need and creating the IoT platforms that we need and the dashboards. So yeah, we've got some similarities there. But I remember you saying something about a very capable female sitting next to somebody over in the East and being seen more as the secretary rather than the very capable woman, and that kind of did stick with me. I mean, how have you seen that working in different areas across you've worked in lots of different countries, haven't you?
I did. I started out my career in the US. I moved to the States when I was a student for university. Yeah. And I stayed to start my career there. From the US, I moved back to Greece, back to the US, to the Netherlands, to the UK. And I've helped jobs, with global organizations, American organizations, European organizations, Indian organizations, Chinese organizations. So I've pretty much covered the globe, I would say. And I've been in a position where I've sat around the table where the majority of the members were men. I've been in a meeting where the vice president of finance was asked by the CEO of the company to get everybody coffee. And the vice president of finance was a female. The only other female around the table outside myself. And I think the reason he did not ask me is because I was Western. So I did have that being a Western female and working or being one of the only females in management in an Eastern company has given me some advantages in that respect, where I wouldn't be asked to do things, but the women around me were asked, to take actions that you would flinch if you heard it here, Yes. And it had nothing to do with the level, but why did he not ask the guy next to him, who's even, it was lower in terms of a position, to go fetch the coffee? But luckily, there were some lovely men around the table that also got up to help, because they realized that, this is not how society is moving on. So we need to do something about it. And I've been in places where a very capable woman will be sitting next to a man who wasn't as good, actually, to call it what it is. And that man will be given, a project, especially the development project, and it would take a month to get down, where a woman that was capable was, been asked to run errands and do silly things. And it is mind-boggling in many ways. I mean, with everything that's been going on in the world right now, and female empowerment and all that, it's very, very relevant. But what we are forgetting, that even though things are not as they ought to be in the West, they're still so much better than they are out in the East. In many countries, they're still separating, where women are sitting, where men are sitting, and how they engage together. And what opportunities are given to a man versus a female. And as women, we are not always able to go or be part of the group. You have to be one of the guys. Why do we have to be one of the guys in order to fit in and to progress our careers? We ought to be ourselves, because the feminine itself is the nurturing side, and that is needed as much as the aggressive side of the Mars to create a business and to be successful.
I know, I totally agree with that, especially if you're creating something that's for a customer, that's for an end customer. You need that nurturing side, you need that empathetic side that's thinking, well, how are they going to use this? What do they need? How can I make it be the best it possibly can in terms of the product for that end customer? If that's how your brain works, and that quite often is female, to be fair, then that is a real advantage. I was reflecting there about what you said about kind of the male female. I remember when I first started my career back, I also started in telco. I was in the technical team, and at the time my husband to be had quite a technical project, but wasn't technical. So every time something broke on his project, he'd quickly ask me to fix it, and then everyone believed he had. There's a few times I kind of went, no, that's fine, but I'll help you with the next bit. And it was very obvious that people didn't think this little blonde 19-year-old was capable of fixing it, and it must be this older guy. I do remember thinking, this isn't right. But yeah, it's nice to see that things have moved on, or certainly more over here in the West. But it's interesting that there is still quite a divide between the East and the West, and how women, and especially women in tech, are able to progress. So I'm thrilled to hear that you're giving those opportunities to women, and not just doing it because they're a woman, but because they're the best candidate for the job. And I love that.
It is absolutely important. I mean, on our earlier chat, I was saying that as we grow older, and as I grow older, I come to think a little bit differently. Where earlier on in my career, I did try to be one of the guys, you know, to fit in, so I wouldn't be kept outside the loop and be able to take, you know, to work on the right projects, or to be able to be promoted. Right now, or in the past few years, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stop doing things that don't resonate with me. I'm going to stop being somebody because I ought to be that person. I have my own values. I need to stick to my integrity and do what is important with me, and be authentic, 100% authentic on that. And quite frankly, if people don't like it, they don't have to associate with me, right? So there is plenty of people out there to work with and collaborate and do business with. So it's important to be able to be true to ourselves and do what resonates. And it's the same on business. It's the same with, if we think even IoT, you know, IoT is connecting people, places, and things. And that connectivity that the technology brings us, and one of the key things and one of the main things that I always wanted to do is humanize that technology. And by humanize it, I don't mean like making everybody a robot, but making it easy in a way that it brings us the benefits that it ought to bring us. It enhances our life. It makes it easier for us to do our day-to-day jobs. So, and there is a lot of talent out in the East, a lot of females, because if you take Southeast Asia, very traditional places where the majority of the kids, they are sent to university to finish a degree, irrespective, you know, if they're male and female, they're given the opportunity, a lot of them. Luckily nowadays, in a lot of these countries, females are given equal opportunity for education as well. So in the West, we're having a hard time finding capable females in technology. Outside not giving the opportunity to the ones that are there, but also the pool is smaller. So why not open the pool? You know, go a little bit further, look at Africa, plenty females and capable, you know, both leaders and technologists out there. Asia, same thing. So let's open the doors a little bit wider and allow the inflow of capable people, capable resources, female and male, to come and do their best, and given the opportunity, and hopefully they will be able to progress in their careers.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you said there about IoT and how you make it human and how you bring it to real life. I think quite a lot of time, what I found, especially, I mean, I remember talking to my uni team, and I'd say, oh, what trends are there? Or we'll talk about IoT, and there was quite a few people around the room that you guys say IoT and they have no connection whatsoever with what it is. Then you say it's Internet of Things, thinking that would make, and they go,
yeah,
nope. So trying to help them just bring it to life, the real life applications, how it can, we talked about transformation, didn't we? But how we can kind of make things easier for somebody. And quite often they just don't realize that they already have some of these aspects or solutions in their lives already.
Well, the majority of us have a wearable, right?
Yeah, so, or Ring doorbell, or all of those things that connect together. And just being able to help them see the opportunities that are in front of them, especially now we've moved much more into a more of a digital age with COVID over here, and what doors that's opened and how we're all remote working, etc. Being able to control your business remotely through the IoT and what you can do with your sensors and your platforms to really give that data at your fingertips and be able to make some changes that really make you much more efficient as an operation, or give you that control remotely, immediate control, I think is a real game changer. I'm really keen that people can start to see how IoT is not scary. The same as kind of we've been at MK, we've been looking at 5G, and there's a lot of fear around that too. So that's another thing. We're going to have a topic soon on that, but that's another thing. There's so much fear, certainly over here, about what 5G is going to do and how can it help.
Oh, you mean all the birds are coming down from the skies? Yes. Or like how COVID was started because of 5G?
I know, exactly. So it's like, oh, how do we kind of make this accessible and easy without people thinking, now this is just another made up story. And of course you know that because you're in the business and you want to sell. Yeah, at the moment we're kind of exploring how we help people understand that and make it much more accessible.
I think the human element, if we can concentrate on the human element and take technology out of the equation, technology will be what's happening behind the scenes. And we concentrate on the problems that we're trying to solve rather than how technology works. Because quite frankly, the customers, unless there is another technical person on the other end, like you said, your friends are from a university, they will blank out. They don't know what is IoT. They don't know what is Internet of Things. And if they know about blockchain, it's because of the cryptocurrency, and they probably are trading, you know, and doing all that. And if we look at AI and ML, we don't really have AI. Really, AI doesn't really exist in the form that we have. It's just rules, business rules.
Yes.
So we need to take the technology away, put it on the background.
Yes.
It's still there. It still drives everything. But to propagate the benefits of IoT, the Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, adding the human element, is to talk about the simplistic views of how it can solve a problem and what it can do for them, and put in the human element, hence humanizing technology. You know, that's my main driver at any rate. And it comes down to that. Once people understand how we can solve the problem that they are facing, even today with COVID, I mean, Internet of Things can help so many operations, so many businesses that they have to close their doors, or they had to close their doors in order to get back into selling, by digitizing things, by automating things, by being able to do remote monitoring and remote management, enabling people to work without having to go to a facility. So many use cases, you know, we can spend hours going over the different use cases. And the fear that we spend so much time talking about the technology itself, which propagates the fear, which, you know, it creates more challenges. They say, oh yeah, IoT devices, they can be hacked. Every device can be hacked, not just IoT devices. Let's just face it. And what will that be? 20% of the time it happens in every industry, in every company, even the biggest and most secure ones. So let's try to find ways to make it easier and, you know, minimize the impact of security and collaboration. And I think this is how, you know, even conversations that we have, like you and I today and other IoT players out there, we ought to band together, because it's an ecosystem. Not one player can create everything on their own. Even if you look at, you know, Amazon, they depend on their ecosystem to provide their services and solutions. So players like ourselves can do the same.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I think definitely the security side of things is definitely a barrier, and puts up that kind of, oh no, I don't want to touch it. I remember speaking to one of my neighbours, and they'd been offered a kind of IoT platform, but like a smart house basically. And the very first thing they said was, no, because my whole house could be hacked. And it was that instant, no, and it wasn't even, you couldn't really back it up with anything. And I said, well, actually, could they do? So yeah, that is another thing that we're working really hard on to acknowledge that fear and then talk through the things that you can do, because there's so much you can do to minimize the risk. And as you say, anything that's digital can be hacked. My laptop can be hacked at any moment because it's on a network. So I totally agree with you. That is a big piece.
Yeah, it's but you know, as everybody is saying, I'm going to use the same cliche, the future is digital. Every single industry is being disruptive, and if it's not already disrupted, it will be in the next 10 years.
Yes.
So honestly, if somebody that is running a company as part of an organization is not looking of how they can enhance their current operations, or pivot if they have to include, you know, digital solutions, that business will be out of business in the next 10 years. So it's their choice in the end of the day. You know, we're here, we'll help as much as we can. Absolutely. But if somebody doesn't want to understand where, you know, the industry is going or where we're going as a human race, it's a different story. What can you do, right?
I know, but we're here to help.
Absolutely, we're here to help.
Yeah. Well, I need to say goodbye, but that has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sure we'll collaborate again in the future. And I'm very glad that your chair managed to stay up the entire time and didn't put you
I know, right? That would have been so funny. Maybe I should have done it on purpose for the...
Oh, well, lovely. We'll have a lovely day. And
thank you. You too, Sharon. It's been a pleasure to speak with you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nassia. Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.